call me Mystic Mac because I predict these things.
Nurullo Aliev takes on Shem this Saturday at UFC Fight Night Qatar. And Nurullo Aliev, fighting out of Tajikistan, 10-0, undefeated fighter. He is 2-0 in the UFC, coming off of a TKO win on Dana White's Contender Series. Rafael Alves, Joe Selecki got decision wins over those guys. Taking on Shem, who's 12-1 with one no contest, kind of a karate-based type fighter. Really good jiu-jitsu, really good submission game on the ground. Trains with Paddy Pimblett and Luke Riley. So a pretty highly touted prospect. I think there's a lot of hype behind this guy, a lot of noise coming in. Taking on undefeated guy in Qatar, so not an easy night out for this guy. But neither of these guys have fought the best competition. I would say I would give the edge to Aliev and Rafael Alves, Joe Selecki. Decent guys with a lot of experience. And Shem honestly hasn't fought really the best guys in the world. Not the best records. He's fought in some good promotions. The Octagon promotion is a decent promotion, but still fairly untested. 14 fights in his career. This will definitely be the biggest test to date for Shem. But I'm gonna go with Shem in this one. I think he's a pretty sizable underdog, but I just think he's more dangerous on the feet. I think he's got more finishing potential on the ground, and just in general, wherever this fight goes, I think he's got a really rangy, effective striking style that he'll be able to kind of keep his range against Nurullo Aliev. Uses stabbing kicks to the body to maintain his range. And I think that Aliev is uncomfortable when he's forced on the back foot, when he's forced to be the one kind of backing up on the feet, or forced to stand if he can't get his takedowns. I think he's got pretty sloppy stand-up. He's looked like an absolute victim at times on the feet when he can't get the fight to the ground, just kind of swinging at air. He'll throw the occasional jab, the looping hook. Definitely uses his striking as kind of a means to an end to get his takedowns, and he kind of telegraphs his takedowns. Shoots from far out at times. I think somebody kind of maintaining their range and has some consequence coming behind their strikes can kind of bait those takedowns out of him and be able to defend him. Aliev had decent striking in round 3 versus Selecki, but Selecki's not known as the best striker. I feel like he was kind of opening up because he wasn't really afraid of what was coming his way from Selecki. But I think that Shem can manage the striking on the feet, make Aliev uncomfortable, panic shooting at times from far, and just force him to kind of come crashing in, where I think he'll be able to get his counter game going and maybe look for his own takedowns. He's got a strong double leg. He has really good hip tosses that we saw in his fight with Nathan Kelly and Katakoli, I think his name was. And I think if it does go to the ground, I think that Shem has a really good ability to scramble up from takedowns, not just really settle. I don't think he'll be there to just kind of settle under Aliev and let him, tax the clock and win rounds. I think that Shem does a really good job of taking the back. He's got 6 rear naked chokes. He's got a python trap sub where he trapped one of his opponent's arms with his leg, and then kind of grapevine his other arm and just covered his mouth and his nose. Kind of a pretty embarrassing way to lose a professional fight, submission wise, outside of like a mother's milk submission. But I just think there's opportunities there for submissions for Shem. Aliev, more of a wrestler, not the best submission guy. He's got good submission defense, but not really looking for submissions. I feel like he's more primarily looking to maintain control. And I think there's opportunities there to find submissions on him and get the finish. We've seen him in several submissions. He hasn't been finished yet, but Selecki threatened with some good triangles. Alves got him in a few guillotines in their fight. And I feel like Nurullo Aliev, he just does a good job of kind of gritting down and powering out of bad positions, not really using a lot of technique. Slammed out of the triangle, exploded out of mount versus Aliev when he had the guillotine, and then when he was maintaining the mount, hunting for head and arm chokes. And I think that Shem bigger. I think he'll be a little bit more active on bottom, not just settle like these guys did. He's 6 foot, filled out for lightweight, like he's a big dude. And we saw Rafael Alves, 21-12, 44% takedown defense. He's 5'8", 12-6 Joe Selecki, 14% takedown defense, 5'9". Like, Aliev's been fighting these smaller guys who were getting kind of out-muscled, controlled on the ground, didn't have the best takedown defense, didn't have the best ability to kind of out-muscle him and not get controlled on the ground. And we saw Selecki have a really nice takedown in round 3, slipping under the punches, went straight to mount with really no defense from Nurullo Aliev and ended that round in mount. So I think that Nurullo, again, just kind of a straight wrestler who wants to be on top, doesn't really have a bottom game or a submission game. Great control on the ground though. Usually only needs like one takedown to keep guys on the ground. They usually don't get up very often, but really just looks to control, control on top, maybe past a half guard, maybe look for side control. Doesn't have the most ferocious ground and pound in the world. I feel like his win over Josh Wick on the Contender Series was kind of weak. I feel like that was a very weak showing by Josh Wick to just kind of go out like that. I'm not really impressed by that win. I don't think that he does that to any high-level fighter the way that he does his ground and pound. I just don't think he has a lot of danger on top. Not really landing significant strikes, not really hunting submissions. And I just think there's a lot of places that Nurullo Aliev isn't comfortable on his back, on the feet, and that's like 2/3 of an MMA fight. So I lean to the more confident guy with more ways to win, who's going to be hunting KOs, hunting submissions, doing more during the rounds, whereas Aliev's just going to be looking to control and stay on top. And I think this fight gets really interesting, halfway through round 2, because I don't think it's going to be a simple lay and pray fest for Aliev. I think that Shem will be making him work, making him scramble, fight on the feet, eating kicks to the body, defending submissions. And we've seen Aliev slow down in his fights. The third round versus Selecki, he wasn't really willing to shoot just because I don't think he had the gas. I don't think that he was willing to shoot and not get it and really start to fizzle out as that round went out. So I think he kind of played it safe, knew that he wasn't in any real danger on the feet from Selecki. And I think that if he gets into that situation with Shamrock, I think he's going to be in a lot of trouble because Shamrock's the better striker. He can get his takedowns as well. He can take advantage of a gassed opponent in Aliev and find submission. So I'm going to go with Shamrock in this one. I think he can get a finish. I think he wears out Aliev, kind of takes over as the fight progresses, catches him with a head and arm choke, maybe a rear naked choke on the ground. He needs to come in shape, look for a finish because the control time that Aliev might get in these rounds, and this being in Qatar, doesn't really bode well for a decision win for Shamrock. But I'm going to go with the underdog. I like him in this fight. I think he's got a good style, a good MMA skill set to deal with somebody like Nurullo Aliev. And I think he'll be able to deal with just the pure wrestling coming his way from Aliev. And I think he's dangerous everywhere. So I'm going to go with Shamrock in this one as a pretty sizable underdog to get this win by finish. Thanks.